Hello, Nevada Realtors, and welcome to another episode of Tom's Not Funny. I'm sorry, I mean, it's not soup yet. Every time I start a show, he's always laughing. So this week is kind of an interesting week because both of you are headed off to Washington, D.C. To meet with our federal delegates about real estate. Yeah. How long you guys been going for? I mean, I've been doing it about 10 years. This is my first year not going.
How does that make you feel?
I don't know. I feel left out. It's strange.
Right? So I mean, look, it's important for us to be able to have FaceTime with our federal delegates and their staff.
Sure.
Right. And this year, I think they're really focusing on having the staff there because today's scheduler may be tomorrow's chief of staff or somebody. Right. So it's important that we get to know the players and have those open lines of conversation so that when we do have something to say, there's someone that'll listen.
Yeah, we're doing a national block party at the Nationals stadium, baseball stadium, so it'll be different. We normally have hill visits. And Nevada being Nevada, we've been fortunate. You asked how long. This will be my 24th year of going to D.C. for the I still call them the mid-year. I don't care what NAR wants us to call it. It's still mid-year.
Sure.
One of the main things they've screwed up over the last 23 or 4 years that I've been doing this. So, but this is my favorite meeting, and we're lucky. A lot of states don't get to meet with all of theirs. Let's start with that. In fact, most states don't get to meet with their entire delegation. Again, 24 years, we have never not met with our entire delegation in all those years. Here's another thing that we used to do that's really cool, and we need to be proud of this, and it has something to do with what we're here to discuss on a weekly basis with our little soup episode. It's not just a Saturday Night Live skit, folks. It's actually got a purpose to it. One of the other things that we did, and this was due to the majority leader at the time, Senator Harry Reid, we actually got to go to one room, and not only did we not go to them, they came to us. Every elected official would come to our room for the Nevada Realtors to meet with us. And so that is a rarity. If not, we might be the only state. We were the first state that started that. There have been some that followed up with that.
Yeah, that's always
part of that.
That's always an amazing thing to see. I getting to experience that and speaking with each one of those federal delegates was pretty amazing to be there and take part in it. I know that I think it's New Mexico. A couple of years later, they did a lunch, and then they invited all of their delegates to a lunch. Some of ours probably wouldn't sit in the same room at some points over the course of the last 10 or 20 years. But it is really powerful. And to see all of them in one place at the National Stadium will be pretty impactful. So let's talk about Nevada. While you guys are gone, the legislative session is still going on. You guys are still monitoring a tremendous number of bills. But one of the things that just happened or is happening, it just happened May 1st, is the Economic Forum. And so every year, or I think it's every session, the governor has to put together a budget that's going to run. And so they bring in 5, it says independent
there's
reviewers.
There's nothing independent
that are going to take a look at forecasting the revenues for the state and help them forecast a budget. And so money is extremely important in every legislative session, right? I mean, we went into the one after COVID with a $2 billion deficit. And what do you guys see in this session when it comes to the dollars?
Go ahead, Keith.
I'll jump in because I tell you, it's for all those people that don't get the Nevada economy, it probably won't get it even after what I was just going to say. Historic revenues and historic revenue stream from, and guess what's happened? A stadium that's been coming into town that has been driving. We've got a baseball stadium that's on the horizon. Bill Hornbuckle from the MGM just said 400,000 tourists will come to Nevada, Las Vegas, that wouldn't have come otherwise had it not been for an Oakland A's moving to Vegas. And everybody said, we got to say, it's not the people's money. It's those that are coming here. And guess what? Our economy is driven by people coming here, drinking, eating, and having a good time. And so what has that all got to do with this? It's historic revenues. It'll be the largest budget ever. My bone to pick with this, and I'll be quiet for a minute so I don't get censored again this week. I'm still wild about what happened last week. That was a travesty that happened.
You were spitting in the soup, Keith.
But my part is why May 1st? We're halfway through a session now. It's there's been times where they've come back and it's not a rosy picture. I mean, it's ridiculous that in this day and age we have not adjusted that time to put it into that they can actually use it opening up the session. So there, I ran and raved. Hopefully,
it makes good sense.
Censored this time.
Let's hope.
Let's talk about the bill that Assemblywoman Kasama put up, AB 392. There were some issues with 40-year listing agreements. So basically, you would decide today that for a contract term that was kind of elongated, that would go out for 40 years.
Yeah. It's a little bit crazy here, right? So for as little of $300, these folks took advantage of them and tied up their property for 40 years. And then if you try to get out of it early, would charge you thousands and thousands of dollars to get out of it. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, we try to self-regulate our industry, but things like this that people come up with to take advantage of those that don't understand is horrendous. And I have to thank, Assemblywoman Kasama on what she's done in bringing this up to the forefront and trying to figure out how to write a bill that will affect it and stop it from happening. So,
yeah, Tom, you'd be 100 when most of these contracts would be expired. So I wouldn't be that. I'd be in my 80s.
Way past my lifetime, right?
Another thing that we saw. Another bill that we saw was AB 213, which would ensure prompt processing of land use applications. If you've ever been through that process, I mean, development on any parcel takes forever.
Yep.
And I think that's a definite step in the right direction. You guys are still say again.
Yeah, one important bill about that Hades bill, we also did put some private property management agency into there that we felt was important. So we did put a lot of that stuff to protect the property managers in there.
Sure.
So property managers, we're always trying to help you out, sometimes in spite of yourselves.
Yep. So, and you guys are still monitoring a tremendous amount of landlord-tenant provisions and summary eviction process. So you guys still have a full plate. That's going on in a lot of bills.
And let's take a few minutes to talk about summary evictions.
Yeah.
Shall we? I mean, we went to the table. We pounded out a bill and wording that we thought was acceptable to both parties, and everybody agreed to it. And then lo and behold, poof, we get the thing back and stuff has changed, right? It's incredible. But I do believe you've had some experience with that during 2020. What was your experience with agreeing to something and then seeing it in writing and have it being totally changed?
Yeah, I think Keith would probably tell you in every session that we've ever been through, there's been an occurrence where you're sitting at the table and you massage out whatever needs to happen, and you have such a great group of people around you helping with advice and counsel, and they're Rocky and his team are going out of their way to get the message back and forth, and then you get back to the table after it's already been crafted and it's nothing compared to what you talked about. And it's just it happens in every session.
You don't want to get censored.
No, I don't want to get censored. I've seen what happens to those too. But yeah, I mean, during the 2020 COVID crisis session, emergency session that we had a number of items where they started out one way. I was the guy that killed open houses for the entire real estate industry. I was getting letters in the mail telling me that they couldn't hold open houses and it was my fault.
Yeah.
But we worked through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of times what happens is especially when you come into deadlines, which is the problem with the 120-day session. People always, we got to get them in and out of there. Well, they deal with stuff that happens, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
When I don't want to go into my heart surgeon and say, hey, you know what? I got a tea time in an hour and a half. Let's get this wrapped up. I don't want to give him a time limit. I don't know why we're putting a time limit on legislative, but that's what happens. Is you get deadlines and you get rushes and you get mistakes. But I've also had an long-time lobbyist friend of mine one time. We're sitting in a room and same situation. We all agree to something, comes back from LCB, and it's completely different. And everybody's, it's the rush, it's everything else. And this old timer, he just sat back and goes, yeah, but you know what? Somebody had to tell them what to put in there and what not to put in there. And I'm looking around at the table, and I think I got to figure out who told them to put this in there. So
sure,
somebody's got to tell them to do something.
Well, this is definitely the week for politics as you guys head off to DC. Hope you have safe travels and enjoy the conference and bring back some great information. And we know while you're there, you'll still be working on all of the legislative issues in Nevada. So
we're even going to do a episode of It's Not Soup. Keith and I will be live in DC, and you'll be here.
That's right. You guys heard it here first. So make sure you tune in next week. Read your advocate. Check out all the things that are going on.
That's my goal. Censored from the Capitol.
Censored from the Capitol, for sure. Have a great week, Nevada.